Today I am going to tell you the story of Cinderella. There once was a young girl whose name was Cinderella. Her mother had died when she was very young. Her father married again, and his new wife was spiteful and snooty. Her daughters were even worse. They treated Cinderella like a servant. "What's little Cinder's doing today then?" teased Griselda. "She's sweeping away cobwebs like a servant," sneered Grimella. "Get on with it then, servant girl," said Griselda. Just then Cinderella's stepmother appeared, holding a letter. "Griselda, Grimella," she cried, "I have the most exciting news. The prince is giving a Christmas ball, and you're invited." "May I go to the ball as well?" Cinderella asked hopefully. "You must be joking," her stepmother replied. "You belong in the kitchen." Cinderella turned to her father, but he coughed and looked away. "He's too scared of stepmother to help me," thought Cinderella. "We'll be the most beautiful girls there," chorused the stepsisters. "I'm sure the prince will want to marry one of you," said their mother, proudly beaming. All that week, bootmakers, dressmakers, jewelers, wig makers, and hairdressers streamed through the door. Cinderella tried to make her stepsisters look as pretty as possible. It wasn't easy. Grimella wanted to wear a hat decorated with stuffed birds. Griselda chose a lime green dress with bright yellow spots. Cinderella worked night and day, putting their finishing touches to their outfits. At last they were ready. Cinderella's stepsisters gazed at themselves in the mirror. "Don't we look gorgeous?" they shrieked. "Oh, my Tinkerbells, you look wonderful," gasped their mother. "The coach is here. Let's go." The front door was opened. There was a swish of skirts and a blast of cold air, and Cinderella was left alone. A loud crash in the chimney made Cinderella to look up. There in the fireplace, covered in soot from head to toe, was her godmother. "Godmother Felicity," cried Cinderella, "whatever are you doing in my chimney?" "I missed the door," Felicity replied airily as she bustled into the room. "But I haven't seen you since I was 10," said Cinderella. "I've been with Sleeping Beauty, my other godchild," said Felicity, but she wouldn't wake up, so it was rather dull. Felicity peered at Cinderella. "Have you been crying?" she asked. "Yes, I wanted to go to the ball, but I am not allowed," Cinderella explained. "Well, you can wipe those tears away, girlie. Fantastic Felicity is here to help. Now go and fetch me a large pumpkin." "Great," thought Cinderella. "My stepsisters are at the ball and I am picking pumpkins for my crazy godmother." "Here you are," Cinderella said a few minutes later. "It's the biggest one." "Jolly good," Felicity replied. "The time has come to tell you a great secret. Your godmother is a fairy. Watch this." Felicity flicked her wand and cried, "Abracadabra, cadabra candide." There was a tinkle of music and a shower of sparks. In the place of the pumpkin stood a beautiful golden coach. Cinderella gasped. "You really can do magic." "This is just the beginning," Felicity replied. "Now where can I find your mousetrap?" "Under the sink," said Cinderella. Felicity peered in. "6 mice, 1 fat rat, all alive. Excellent. Open the trap." As the mice came out, Felicity tapped each one with her wand. One by one, the mice were transformed into fine white horses. The rat became a rosy-cheeked coachman with very large whiskers. "Now I need 6 lizards," said Felicity. I expect there'll be some behind your watering can." "There are," said Cinderella, handing them to her godmother. In a flash, the lizards became footmen. They were dressed in glistening green and looked as if they had been footmen all their lives. Finally, Felicity touched Cinderella with her wand. A moment later, her rags turned into a dazzling dress of gold and silver. On her feet was a perfect pair of dainty glass slippers. "There's just one problem," said Felicity. "You must leave before 12. On the last stroke of midnight, my magic will fade." "I promise," Cinderella replied, climbing into the coach. "Thank you so much," she called as the horses swept her away. When Cinderella entered the ballroom, everyone fell silent. Then a whisper went around the room. "Who's that beautiful girl?" the ladies wondered. A voice next to Cinderella almost made her jump. It was the prince. "May I have this dance?" he asked. Cinderella and the prince twirled across the floor. "She's so graceful," said the other ladies. "And look at her dress. Have you seen anything so delicate?" "The prince is only being polite," snapped Grimella. "He'd much rather dance with me." As the prince whirled Cinderella round the room, she caught sight of the clock. It was almost midnight. "Oh no," she said, "I must go." And she ran away across the dance floor. The prince raced after her. "Come back," he called, but Cinderella had disappeared into the darkness. The prince turned back into the palace with a sigh. There was something on the steps that caught his eye. "Her glass slipper!" he cried. Cinderella ran home as fast as she could. She arrived just before her stepsisters. The next morning, the entire street was woken by the shout of a town crier, who was followed by a messenger. "By the order of His Royal Highness, the Prince, every girl in the kingdom must try on this glass slipper. The prince will marry its true owner." Cinderella's stepsister flung open the door and grabbed the messenger. "One of my girls will fit this shoe," she said proudly, "and then we'll be royalty." Griselda couldn't even fit her big shoe in the shoe. She pushed until her foot was bright red. "Give it here," shouted Grimella, ramming half her foot in the shoe. It got stuck. "You useless child!" cried her mother. She wrenched the slipper off Grimella's foot and flung it at the messenger. "Off you go then," she snapped. "Excuse me, ma'am," the messenger said. "I've strict orders that every young lady is to try on the shoe." He looked at Cinderella. "She's just a servant," said Grimella. Cinderella's father coughed. "Actually, Cinderella has every right to try on the slipper," he said bravely. She walked over to the messenger and slipped on the shoe. It was a perfect fit. "No!" shrieked Griselda and Grimella. "She can't be a princess!" shouted their mother. "I won't allow it." With one swift movement, the messenger swept off his hat and cloak. Everyone in the room gasped. It was the prince. He knelt in front of Cinderella. "I've been searching everywhere for you," he said. "Will you marry me?" "Oh yes," she replied, and at that moment there was a puff of smoke, and Felicity flew into the room. "Time for a little more magic," she declared. Thank